Russia is the largest country in the world by land area and the 9th most populous country in the world. This video will delve into various aspects of Russia, from its geography and climate to its history, culture, economy, and tourism. So, let's embark on a captivating journey through the fascinating land of Russia. Russia, the largest country in the world, occupies 1/10 of all the land on Earth. It spans 11 time zones across 2 continents and has coasts on 3 oceans, the Atlantic, Pacific, and Arctic. The Russian landscape varies from desert to frozen coastline, tall mountains to giant marshes. Much of Russia is made up of rolling, treeless plains called steppes. Siberia, which occupies 3/4 of Russia, is dominated by sprawling pine forests called taigas. Russia has about 100,000 rivers, including some of the longest and most powerful in the world. It also has many lakes, including Europe's 2 largest, Ladoga and Onega. Lake Baikal in Siberia contains more water than any other lake on Earth. There are about 120 ethnic groups in Russia who speak more than 100 languages. Roughly 80% of Russians trace their ancestry to the Slavs who settled in the country 1,500 years ago. Other major groups include Tatars, who came with the Mongol invaders, and Ukrainians. Russia is known all over the world for its thinkers and artists, including writers like Leo Tolstoy and Fyodor Dostoevsky. Composers such as Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, and ballet dancers including Rudolf Nureyev. As big as Russia is, it's no surprise that it is home to a large number of ecosystems and species. Its forests, steppes, and tundras provide habitat for many rare animals, including Asiatic black bears, snow leopards, polar bears, and small, rabbit-like mammals called pikas. Russia's first national parks were set up in the 19th century, but decades of unregulated pollution have taken a toll on many of the country's wild places. Currently, about 1% of Russia's land area is protected in preserves, known as zapovedniks. Russia's most famous animal species is the Siberian tiger, the largest cat in the world. Indigenous to the forests of eastern Russia, these endangered giants can be 10 feet, 3 meters, long, not including their tail, and weigh up to 300 kilograms. Russia's history as a democracy is short. The country's first election, in 1917, was quickly reversed by the Bolsheviks, and it wasn't until the 1991 election of Boris Yeltsin that democracy took hold. Russia is a federation of 86 republics, provinces, territories, and districts, all controlled by the government in Moscow. The head of state is a president elected by the people. The economy is based on a vast supply of natural resources, including oil, coal, iron ore, gold, and aluminum. The earliest human settlements in Russia arose around AD 500, as Scandinavians moved south to areas around the upper Volga River. These settlers mixed with Slavs from the west and built a fortress that would eventually become the Ukrainian city of Kiev. Kiev evolved into an empire that ruled most of European Russia for 200 years, then broke up into Ukraine, Belarus, and Muscovy. Muscovy's capital, Moscow, remained a small trading post until the 13th century when Mongol invasions in the south drove people to settle in Moscow. In the 1550s, Muscovite ruler Ivan IV became Russia's first Tsar Russian emperor after driving the Mongols out of Kiev and unifying the region. In 1682, Peter the Great became Tsar at the age of just 10, and for 42 years he worked to make Russia more modern and more European. In 1917, Russians, unhappy with their government, overthrew the Tsar and formed a newly elected government. Just a few months later, however, a communist group called the Bolsheviks seized power. Their leader, Vladimir Lenin, created the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, USSR, from Russia and 11 other countries. The USSR fought on the side of the United States in World War II. But soon after the war ended in 1945, relations between the two powers and their allies became strained, leading to what's known as the Cold War. After decades of conflict, the Cold War ended in 1991 with the breakup of the Soviet Union. The 14 countries bordering Russia are Norway, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Belarus, Ukraine, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, China, and North Korea. The longest border is shared with China, The country borders the Baltic Sea as well as the Barents Sea, the Kara Sea and the Siberian Shan, and the Bering Sea in the furthest east. Russia has an enclave in the Baltic, Kaliningrad, which formerly was Königsberg. The Kaliningrad enclave is located between Poland and Lithuania. Kaliningrad's port is the only one of Russia's ports that is ice-free in winter. The main attractions are the Red Square, the oldest and largest square in Moscow with the Lenin Mausoleum, the Kremlin Fortress, and admire the colorful St. Basil's Cathedral. Here you see the Kremlin walls and the Moskva River. The building of the Lomonosov University in Moscow is a famous landmark of the country. The university is named after mathematician and writer Mikhail Lomonosov, one of the most famous Russian scientists. This port city on the Baltic Sea is the second largest city in the country with more than 5 million inhabitants. The city is known as the largest northernmost city with over 1 million inhabitants. The Neva River flows through St. Petersburg, that formerly was also referred to as Petrograd or Leningrad in the last century. Founded by Peter the Great in 1703, the city is home to the world-renowned Hermitage Museum of Art and the Winter Palace, previously home of the Russian czars and emperors, experienced the White Nights, which are for about 2 weeks from mid of June. Then the sun will not set in St. Petersburg and there will be daylight for 24 hours. The city is located on the Black Sea and is a popular seaside resort. Sochi was the location for the Winter Olympics in 2014. Take a train trip through the vast landscape. The Trans-Siberian Railway offers one of the longest rail networks in the world and runs from Moscow to Vladivostok near the border with China and North Korea. Russian is a Slavic language and it is the most widely spoken Slavic language. Ukrainian and Polish are also Slavic languages but with fewer speakers. It is spoken in Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and by many people in Ukraine. Russian is also spoken by many people as a second language in much of Eastern Europe and the Baltics as well as in the Caucasus and Central Asia. Russian is the 8th most spoken language in the world but is the second most dominant language on the internet, after English. Russian is one of the 6 working languages spoken at the United Nations. Most of the Russian population lives in the westernmost part of the country that belongs to the European continent. Here are the majority of the largest Russian cities such as Moscow, St. Petersburg, Ekaterinburg, Samara, and Omsk. The family is very important to Russians. Here most families include the grandparents, parents, and children in the same household. Children start school when they turn 6 years old and typically go to school for 10 years. After grade 11, students can go to study at university. Soccer and ice hockey are the most popular sports in Russia. Soccer is referred to as football in Russia. In 2014 Russia hosted the Winter Olympics in Sochi, and in 2018 Russia hosted the FIFA Soccer World Cup. The winner of the 2018 World Championship was the national football team of France. The 2022 Soccer World Cup will be held in December 2022 in Qatar. Russia is not a democratic country. According to the World Freedom Report 2021, Russia is declared as not free, ranking with only 20 out of 100 points. The authoritarian regime of President Vladimir Putin controls the media and suppresses opponents. Corruption and crime are another threat to the country, and Russia's recent invasion of neighboring country Ukraine caused a human crisis in the region. This only will lower Russia's freedom ranking in 2022. The Russian main dishes contain pork and beef, lamb, chicken, fish, potatoes, and root vegetables as well as porridge and bread. Sour cream accompanies many dishes. Especially vegetable soups and stews play an important role in Russian cuisine. Russian food is full of flavor, and the Russian cuisine is as diverse as the regions in the huge country. Russia boasts a strong education system, with a focus on science and technology. It has a long-standing tradition of excellence in mathematics, physics, and space exploration. Russian universities are renowned for their high-quality education, attracting students from around the world. Russia has made notable contributions to the fields of aerospace, nuclear technology, and computer science. The country has a thriving tech startup ecosystem and is home to renowned cybersecurity experts. Russian scientists and engineers continue to push the boundaries of innovation. Russia plays a significant role in international affairs. As a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, it holds substantial influence. Russia's relationships with other countries, including its neighboring states, global powers, and regional organizations, continue to shape geopolitical dynamics. Russia faces several challenges and controversies, including political tensions, human rights concerns, and international disputes. Issues such as corruption, media freedom, and geopolitical conflicts have drawn attention both domestically and internationally. Russia's future is poised for both opportunities and challenges. As the country continues to navigate its political, economic, and social landscapes, the potential for growth and development remains substantial. The direction Russia takes will influence not only its own citizens but also have ramifications on a global scale.